Maybe what me to ask this, kid. Are you gonna stop Tank Davis? They want to see you and Tank Davis, nigga. I gotta be honest.
What?
Keyshawn Davis, a rising star in boxing, has been on a relentless mission to challenge one of the sport's biggest names, Gervonta Tank Davis. Tank, the reigning lightweight champion, has already established himself as one of the most feared figures in the division, known for his devastating knockout power and dominant performances. But Keyshawn has made it clear, he's not just another prospect trying to make a name for himself. He's coming after Tank, and he won't back down until they meet in the ring. The 25-year-old Davis has been calling out Tank for months, stirring the pot with comments that have clearly gotten under Tank's skin. His boldness and determination to prove himself as one of the best in the sport are evident in every interview and social media post. Keyshawn has repeatedly questioned Tank's toughness, calling him out for avoiding challenges and not fighting the best fighters in the division. He's even gone as far as confronting Tank outside the ring, causing a scene at an airport and challenging him face to face, making sure the world knew he was ready to fight. Keyshawn's mission to make this fight happen is crystal clear. He wants Tank, and he doesn't shy away from the criticism that comes with his brash approach. In fact, it fuels him. After a brutal knockout of Gustavo Lemos, Keyshawn doubled down on his desire to face Tank. While others in the division might be following more conventional routes to title shots, Keyshawn has his eyes firmly fixed on Tank. He's doing everything he can to make sure the boxing world recognizes it. Tank, however, has largely dismissed Keyshawn's calls for a fight. The Baltimore native hasn't shown much interest in entertaining Keyshawn's challenge, arguing that he has bigger things on his plate. He's used his silence to his advantage, believing that ignoring Keyshawn's antics would make them go away. But that hasn't stopped Keyshawn. The young challenger has shown no signs of backing down, continuing to speak out at every opportunity and making sure Tank's name is always in the spotlight. While Keyshawn's rise in the boxing world has been impressive, he's unbeaten with a record of 12-0 and 8 knockouts. It's clear that Tank is still the measuring stick for him. Despite wins over seasoned fighters like Jose Pedraza and Francisco Fonseca, Keyshawn's mind is set on one thing: Tank. The constant needling, the social media posts, and the public confrontations are all part of a calculated strategy to force Tank into a fight. Keyshawn believes his skill, speed, and power make him the perfect foil for Tank, and he's not afraid to say so. Tank, for his part, has brushed off Keyshawn's taunts, maintaining a poker face and staying focused on his career. But Keyshawn knows how to keep the pressure on. Whether it's calling out Tank at a press conference or running into him at an airport, Keyshawn has made it clear that he's not backing down. His boldness and audacity are part of what makes him such an intriguing figure in boxing. He's not just waiting for a fight to fall into his lap. He's actively pushing for it, making sure that every interview, every victory, and every moment is about Tank. The rivalry between the two has sparked considerable interest among fans. Many wonder if Keyshawn is truly ready for a fight with Tank. While his knockout of Lemos was impressive, some believe it wasn't enough to prove that Keyshawn is ready for the big time. Critics argue that Lemos was a fighter who had recently lost to another contender and wasn't at his best when he faced Keyshawn. This has led to questions about whether Keyshawn is taking the easy route to a title shot. He's been accused of picking opponents who are either past their prime or coming off losses, which doesn't do much to prove his credentials as a serious contender for Tank's title. One of Keyshawn's biggest critics is Eddie Hearn, a prominent boxing promoter. Hearn has been vocal about his belief that Keyshawn needs to face tougher challenges if he wants to be taken seriously as a challenger for Tank. Hearn specifically pointed to Cuba's Andy Cruz, a fighter who has dominated Keyshawn in their past amateur meetings, as the real test for the young challenger. According to Hearn, Keyshawn needs to defeat Cruz before he can even think about facing Tank. Cruz, a seasoned and skilled fighter, handed Keyshawn multiple losses during their amateur career, including a decisive victory in the 2020 Olympic finals. Hearn believes that proving he can handle a fighter like Cruz, who has already outclassed him, will be key for Keyshawn to show that he belongs in the ring with Tank. Keyshawn, however, has been careful in his selection of opponents, avoiding fighters like Cruz, who could expose his weaknesses. Some believe this is a strategic move to avoid another loss that could derail his momentum. After all, Keyshawn's confidence is sky high, and facing Cruz, who has already beaten him, could be a huge setback, but if Keyshawn wants to prove himself at the highest level, he'll need to face and beat Cruz. Without that, any claim to a title shot against Tank will be seen as lacking legitimacy. Keyshawn's camp, on the other hand, is undeterred by these criticisms. Keyshawn remains adamant that his time is now and that he's ready to face Tank on his terms. He's used his recent wins, including the knockout of Lemos, to build a case for himself, even as the criticism continues to pile up. While some may argue that his rise has been built on less than elite competition, Keyshawn believes his skills speak for themselves. He's eager to show that he's capable of beating the best in the division. The question remains, will Tank Davis ever acknowledge Keyshawn's challenge? Tank has built a reputation as a fighter who lets his fists do the talking, and has been reluctant to engage in the war of words that Keyshawn seems to relish. But with each passing day, Keyshawn is turning up the heat, making it harder for Tank to ignore him. Whether it's calling him out in interviews or confronting him in person, Keyshawn is making sure Tank knows exactly who he's after. For Keyshawn, it's not just about the fight, it's personal. Tank, meanwhile, continues to focus on his career, taking on other challengers and working to solidify his place at the top of the lightweight division. He's considered one of the best pound-for-pound fighters in the sport, with a record of 30 wins and 28 knockouts. His power and counterpunching have made him a dangerous opponent for anyone in the division, and he's earned multiple world titles in different weight classes. But the more Keyshawn calls him out, the harder it becomes for Tank to stay silent. Keyshawn's persistence is starting to put pressure on Tank to respond. Fans are eagerly awaiting the day when these two fighters will meet in the ring. The contrast between the brash, outspoken challenger and the quiet, patient champion is fascinating. Keyshawn has built his career on bold claims and a relentless pursuit of his goals, while Tank has let his knockout power and impressive resume do the talking. But as the rivalry between them grows, it seems inevitable that they'll have to face off sooner or later. In the meantime, Keyshawn continues to build his case, one win at a time. His upcoming title fight against WBO champion Shakur Stevenson in February is a crucial step in his quest for a shot at Tank. A win would give him his first world title and further solidify his claim to be the next big thing in boxing. But even as he prepares for this fight, Keyshawn's focus remains on Tank. He knows that the road to becoming a household name in boxing runs through the reigning champion, and he's determined to make sure everyone knows it. For now, the boxing world is waiting to see how this rivalry will play out. Will Keyshawn's persistence finally force Tank into the ring, or will Tank continue to ignore him and focus on other challenges? One thing is for sure, the anticipation is building, and fans can't wait to see what happens next. Keyshawn Davis is on a mission, and it's only a matter of time before Tank Davis has to answer the call.